Can you hear me? Neil's playing, guys. Welcome to Editors in Exile. This is episode, I don't know, 5? Do you know which episode we're on, Neil?
4 or 5.
I haven't been naming them. I just been kind of going on with the flow. But today,
That's the way we are.
yeah, literally. I mean, we just hop on and we just talk politics and culture. And today we're going to be talking
Usually.
about Cracker Barrel and their rebranding. We'll also talk about Trump wanting to go to heaven because he wants to end the Ukraine-Russia war, which, if you haven't seen our last video, we go over the Ukraine-Russia war and how the Trump-Putin summit and just like difficulties within the peace deal. And then to end the show, we'll go over our top 6 conservative movies. So, how's it going,
Or
Neil?
or appeared to be conservative.
Yeah, appear to be. I feel like my picks are pretty conservative.
Yeah,
But
we'll see.
yeah, but you do have a movie that you picked, which I seen this year, and it was really good. So we'll talk more about that towards the end. But what do you feel about the Cracker Barrel rebranding? I saw some of your comments on LinkedIn, and you seem pretty pumped up about this situation.
Yeah, let's be honest. They tried this with, for example, Aunt Jemima by pulling their lead representation of the African American lady, or is the term black? I'm too cis
or
apparently.
or people of color,
Okay, fine. Speaking to a person of color.
or BIPOC. Do you know what BIPOC is?
No, but I'm not familiar with that one now.
I think it's Black Indigenous People of Color.
Okay.
I watch a lot of CNN, so you guys don't have to.
Are you a BIPOC, Dondy?
No, I'm not even black. I'm Indian.
Okay. No, you're not. You're an American. You're an American.
Yeah, I'm an American. That's the right answer.
There you go. As far as Cracker Barrel, the joke has been I've seen everything from there's the cracker sitting by the barrel to um, just too antiquated. And so the CEO, and I don't know her name, and that's probably fine. She doesn't need any extra billing,
Yeah,
but she's definitely a dyed in the wool leftist, and she
pretty much.
has over time not only changed the decor and changing more of the decor of the restaurants around, but she was big on promoting changing the uh, the signage, and they
Hmm.
got rid of the old gentleman in the rocking chair by the barrel and just went straight font. And I don't know. I've seen some of the pictures of the outdoors with the sign, the outdoors of the establishments, and as I put it, it reminds me of a car dealership.
Yeah, or like
So
a Denny's.
yeah, it's there's nothing demonstratively unique about it.
Uh,
Excuse me. It just tries to look like and resemble everything out there. It's becoming sterilized, if you want to be honest, in the way it's being portrayed. So I think it's unnecessary. I think it's a slap in the face of Americans, no matter what your ethnicity, because people of all walks of life have gone in, and they've appreciated the hominess, the rustic, the
yep.
just the comfortable. arrangement. And so they've even changed the interior to look like everything else. Yeah, Denny's is a perfect example.
Yeah.
There's nothing unique. Oh, but they did keep the games on the tables. So, hey, they must be doing something.
Well, I heard that they kind of changed the games a little bit. Um, I'm not sure because I never really played those games before. I mean,
Oh,
I've
you
only been
missed
to
out.
Cracker Barrel a couple times, but I think
If
one
you
of my
never if you never played tic tac toe, you're just missing out.
is that what it is? Tic tac toe was like those little
Well,
like
they had that. They had the little peg games that you had to jump over and
okay, yeah, I
try
think
to.
that's what I'm talking about, the peg games where they changed
Yeah,
around the wordings in it.
well, not even the wordings. Not to spend too much time on it, but you jump a piece and remove it, and you try to see how many you can get off. The
Okay.
idea was to leave as few in there as possible. So,
Right, yeah, I think they said if you leave too much in there, the new wording now is like don't be embarrassed, try again. But before it was like it
you're an
kind of like
idiot.
insulted you. Yeah, like you're an idiot, something like that. It just goes to show like they're just trying to make this Cracker Barrel like fair for everyone, trying to like force inclusivity when people who like Cracker Barrel and they want to go will actually go there. And
Dennis Prager said it best. Anything the left touches, they ruin.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Actually, let me go ahead and share my screen for anyone who hasn't seen any of these Cracker Barrel updates. Are you able to see my screen here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm here on my X account. Okay, so here is a well, here's Sydney Sweeney. This goes back to our first video we actually did about our jeans ad, but they said there's the only one person on the planet that can save Cracker Barrel. But
Well, she definitely would be a draw.
and you
Oh
have
my.
Donald Trump here replacing the uncle, what's his name? Herschel, who was on uh who was the logo of Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, yeah. Although if they want to change it with Trump, I don't think there'd be too much infighting.
Right? Oh my God, you'll have like drones of Trump supporters going to Cracker Barrel. But here is a
And this,
Cracker Barrel in Tennessee. It said this was on a Saturday, dinner time on a Saturday, and I guess it's normally packed, but I guess people are not taking these new changes well because they are not showing up here at Cracker Barrel.
now when they have a Denny's, they can go to if they want the same experience.
Exactly. Denny's is closer. Why drive all the way past Denny's to go to Cracker Barrel and you don't get that old country feel like you used
Oh
to?
yeah.
Neil, you should do some research on this person, Julia Perry, because I know you on LinkedIn a lot. I guess she made this post 4 years ago when Cracker Barrel said, at Cracker Barrel Old Country Store, we've been on a journey of improvement and understanding. As individuals and as a company, we believe that we harness the uniqueness of our differences, we become better. A Cracker Barrel dining room is a place where people of all ages, races, and genders, ethnicities, walks of life. What does walks of life mean? What is that? Like aliens could come or something like that? What does that mean?
Oh, basically, it's a demographic that covers everyone. From all walks of life, from whatever your occupation to what your color, your age, your sex, from all aspects of you're walking down the street and everyone that you pass is somewhat different from you, but you all share a walk in life. So it's
Okay.
from just a generic phraseology.
Okay. And here are some rainbow chairs. Do you think they're gonna, I mean, since they've already did the rebranding, do you think they're just gonna go ahead and add some rainbow chairs to the store?
I wouldn't doubt that they eventually try to get pride flags in.
Yeah, that would be the next step. Here's a I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip. It's by Robbie Starbucks, and he says Cracker Barrel slapped their customers in the face. It's just a 18-second clip.
If I was, sort of getting in the heads of Cracker Barrel executives, I don't believe this was just about a logo change and a fresh new look. I think this was about rejecting what they see as sort of a redneck old image that they had, right? And it's a slap in the face to their customers.
What do you think about Robbie Starbucks saying that this was a slap in their face to their usual rural customers, which honestly makes a lot of sense to me?
Well, there's a Cracker Barrel not too far from here where I live, and it's always been packed out. And when we would take my dad, because that was his favorite place, to be honest, when he was here with us, and you could go in and you could see anybody and everybody. It wasn't just as they like to call it rednecks. There were
Yeah.
people of every occupation. I remember sitting next to a table where it was a group of doctors meeting, and you want to call them redneck?
Yeah.
Basically it has nothing to do with trying to accommodate everyone. They already were. This is the left's attempt to sanitize what they want to have out in the public venue and rid. And let's be honest, there's a certain portion that if that had been a black individual, they wouldn't have made as much of a ruckus. But because it was a white older gentleman, take him out of the scene. But just even the font has changed somewhat. Maybe not totally, but it doesn't look any different than a lot of places out there.
Yeah, you could see the differences here. I just can't see how you go from the top with Uncle Herschel and the Cracker Barrel and the old country store, because that's what it is. And it has a bunch of vintage stuff and just like a lot of history on their walls, and even at their gift shops, which is probably like one of my favorite things to do at Cracker Barrel after you finish eating is go to their gift shop, and they'll have like a lot of like um, albums and mixtapes and boots, and you'll see like some Elvis references. And then at the bottom is just it seems like they're not done editing this. Like they just kind of, this was like the first idea, and they just kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, this is bad. This just is bad. Just one way. It just describes this. It's just not good at all.
So what's our next focus?
Well, before we move on, um, well, we could also show this. So this is kind of how
Why did you
Crackle
get a
Barrel.
picture of my back? No,
Oh, is that you?
I'm
So
not that
this is
rude.
just how Cracker Barrel is supposed to look, right?
Yeah, what is so wrong with that? That it's Americana.
Yep. And
But
this
it
is
gives
how I
even
guess it
that
looks
phrase
now.
how
Where did they get gray from? It's just gray and bland.
it looks distilled is what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks just nothing. It looks like they've tried to pull everything out and not give any eye appeal. But then half of the enjoyment of being at a restaurant of that nature was the distractions as far as what you had to look at, the ambiance that was given by
Honestly, the feedback's
interesting decor. There is no decor.
Yeah. It's not entertaining. It doesn't make you want to get up and explore the store. It's just yeah, you just honestly, if they just built like a drive-through, that would have been better. But here is the Cracker Barrel CEO, and here's her name, Julie. I don't know how to
Fells
say that.
Massimo.
Fells.
Julie
Okay.
Fells Massino.
Okay. And here's her lying, right? She says that, you know, the rebranding has been overwhelmingly positive. Here's a clip.
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant. So we're doing everything for our guests and our team members.
Well, Julie Massino is.
Hey, I
Peggy
did
and
it. Okay.
so are the rocking chairs,
And the
fireplace, vintage decor. It's all there.
All right. Okay, because that would be a deal breaker. That would be a
The logo was a deal breaker.
Got that right. No, it's just a facade. I'm questioning whether she got that major a response back. I have a feeling if I were to just go talk to people at a Cracker Barrel, that would not be the answer or answers that they're giving. So
Yeah, I'm surprised she said that, and you can see that. I guess Cracker Barrel stocks are down, and it's just I don't think it's gonna be what it once was.
no, they may see a change or an influx for a while, but people remember.
Yeah, they will.
So let's see. So you got Trump and Putin there now?
Yeah, so we can go ahead and move on to Trump saying he want to go to heaven and just his goal of just ending this war. Here is a 43-second clip. Trump explaining him wanting to go to heaven, just reiterating that he really wants to end this Ukraine-Russia war. Here's the clip.
Just want to end it. I want to end it. You know, we're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, you know, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's a pretty. I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war if I let that go. And I did that through trade. Just want to end it. I want to end it. You know, we're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly.
Okay, that was a clip of Trump saying he's probably at the bottom of the totem pole. And it's probably just criticism from the left again. I mean,
Well,
the
you know,
guy's
anytime.
trying.
Yeah, you know, they've had it out for Trump for a long time, and anything he says, they're going to play up and try to use as ammunition. But I just wanted to say that President Trump gave answers even a year ago that would have been consistent with biblical truth. But I don't know if he's gotten so far afield from what he said, or if he even really believed it at the time. Because when you say something like, well, I hope I go to heaven, I hope I'm doing good things, I'm trying to make sure, you know, I can save 7,000 lives a week. You know, there's a total, obviously, a misunderstanding of what salvation is. And yes, I am about to go into a minute or two here of oration about that. But let's be honest, if you follow the scriptural truth, because I think Donald Trump, understand some of it. I know you understand it. But salvation is a gift from God. Salvation is a gift because of what the Lord Jesus did on the cross. John 3:16, which you see at football games all the time. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but hath everlasting life. I do not apologize for my faith. I do not apologize for sharing this. I think it's important. Salvation is not something you earn. It's not something you can do, because if you think about it, to get into heaven, you have to be perfect anyway. And if you tell just one lie, if you give just one falsehood, you've sinned, and that breaks the gambit of perfection. So God knew we couldn't be perfect. He knew that we were a fallen creature. We had sin. It started with Adam, and it won't get erased until the from creation until Jesus returns. Ephesians 2:8-9, for by grace are you saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. Faith is or salvation is a free gift by faith. You can't earn your way. You're not perfect enough. So God had to offer a way, and that was through his Son dying on the cross, shedding his blood, and then conquering death by the resurrection 3 days later. He didn't want to go to the cross, but he also knew that this was his Father's plan, and he was going to abide by it because of pure love for us.
Yeah, I think Jesus also said, "Be perfect as your Father is in heaven." Is that didn't he say that? But also it kind of goes back to what you said. I also think that there should be a perfect devotion, since you are made in the image of God, and you should try to be like him. And I
But
think
not
Jesus
to
is a
get to
perfect
heaven.
example. What was that?
But not to get to heaven, because you're going to heaven.
Yeah, for sure. And we're seeing this from Trump a lot now. He's starting to talk about God, and it's something that we don't talk about enough, because from what was it been a year now that he had the Trump it was assassination attempt, and he believes that God saved his life, and he's probably right. I mean, he turned his head, and the bullet missed his skull by an inch and just blew off the tip of his ear. It's honestly just amazing how all that unfolded. And here we are a year later, the media isn't talking about it at all. And, he says he think God saved his life so he can make America great. And that's what he's doing. He's implemented border security. I mean, prices are going down. He's trying to make fair trade, and now he's trying to end this Ukraine-Russia war. I think it's important that we give this man some grace.
Well, I'll be honest. I would like to see a little bit more come out of this whole thing. I think there
Yeah.
needs to be a return back to godly principles, and if saving this man for this day, Esther, in the book of Esther, it says, the reason I'm born is maybe for this one thing, and that's how she saved her people from the evil of a wicked king.
Okay.
And Trump is doing, God's providence is such, he's going to determine what he wants. He lifts up kings and people of leadership, and he puts them down. And I don't have any doubt that God didn't save him for this one thing of leading this nation into better days. I try to keep politics out of it as much as possible, but God's providence is not limited by countries and factions and principles of government ways. He has his ways, and Trump is an instrument of his to do what he deems needs to be done.
Yeah. What do you think about the people who criticize Trump for bringing up God or claiming to be Christian? Although I believe a couple years ago, Trump did say he's leaning more to Christianity, but either way, he believes in God. But what do you say to the people who criticize him for bringing up spirituality and stuff like that?
Well, I guess I would have to say you haven't walked in his shoes. You haven't been
Okay.
where he's at. Um, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, but until you've walked a mile in someone else's shoes, you don't you don't really know. My faith came about because had never been in politics. As far as walking in any point of leadership, Jesus made himself real to me. And for someone to
Yeah.
criticize President Trump, they're being narrow minded because to say he doesn't have a relationship is like saying you know the mind of God. And I think that's a
Yeah.
dangerous way to go.
Yeah, that is a good point. I see a lot of Christians will try to, yeah, even Christians will try to criticize Trump and I guess uh, multiple marriages he had, maybe even the locker room talk that he's had that leaked in a 2016 presidential debate with Hillary Clinton.
We talked about this though. Nobody is perfect.
Yeah,
The man has his flaws. He's a has a sin nature just like the rest of us.
yeah,
We could go the other way and really want to spend time pointing out the flaws of others out there. We don't really have time for that, but it's easy to stand on the corner and point fingers at somebody walking by. But you got to remember, every time you point your finger, you got another one pointing right back at yourself.
yep. It's like that saying: when you judge someone, you're really judging yourself.
Yeah. So I think people need more grace in their life and less uh, hostility.
Yeah. Were you raised in Christianity?
No, not really. I mean, I went to Sunday school and that kind of thing, but I didn't come to know the Lord until maybe.
Really? How was that journey like?
If you had known the things I wasn't into bad things like drugs or things, but I was in a lot of ways I was a risk taker in life, and there were some situations that by all rights I shouldn't be here today because of it. But by the grace of God, there go I.
Okay. Yeah, everybody has their many ways when they return back to the Father. Even if they return back to the Father by TikTok. Somebody will be scrolling on TikTok and then now they believe in God and they're reading the scripture and attending church all by TikTok.
Yeah. All right. So tell me your first top movie of your choice.
My first top movie is Back to the Future. I think it came out in 1985, but I believe this movie is conservative because it's pro family, and that's because Marty McFly goes back into the past because he wants his parents to get together. He's trying to make his parents get back together, something like that. Um, to change the future, if that makes sense, or to change the present that he's in. So he's going back to the past.
To have an effect.
Yeah, to have an effect on the future, which the future is his present. And I just really like the concept of Marty McFly and Dr. Brown, and then Dr. Brown's dog, Einstein. And I actually learned that the dog, Einstein, was supposed to be a monkey. And the famous DeLorean was supposed to be a refrigerator until they took that out. They were like, the time travel should be more mobile. And also, Marty McFly is played by Michael J. Fox, but he was actually, well, he was originally their first choice, but they casted a guy named Eric Stoltz, and he was there filming on the set for a couple weeks, but I guess he clashed with the directors because he took the role too serious, and so they eventually recasted Marty McFly and hired Michael J. Fox. But Michael J. Fox was doing the TV series Family Matters, I think. I probably got that wrong. Or
no.
it was some
Family Ties.
Family Ties. Okay, Family Matters is a different show, isn't it? So, but yeah, and so it was conflicting schedules, but I think Michael J. Fox was perfect for Marty McFly. The movie was more campy and just had a lot of comedic moments. And also they made a Ronald Reagan reference when Dr. Brown didn't believe that Marty McFly was from the future, so he asked what was the president, and he said Ronald Reagan, and Dr. Brown said Ronald Reagan the actor. And it just made me laugh. I thought about, imagine if like somebody from 2025 went traveled to the 90s and said that Donald Trump was a president. You would have said the exact same thing, the actor or the real estate.
Right. Well, since we brought up Reagan, I guess that's a great segue into.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's one of your
top
picks.
one. So my top choice was the Reagan movie of this last year. When you asked me to think of some conservative movies, that one came pretty well immediately. And I mean, yes, Ronald Reagan was an actor, but he was more than that. He was an activist. He stood up representing the Actors Guild when there were so many things going on against the industry, and he was president of the Actors Guild for a while. He was also known for a little bit of a comedic time in his life. Besides being a star actor in Western movies and things of that nature, he was also known for a series of comedic shows that put him with a monkey, Bedtime for Bonzo.
Yeah.
Kind of perfect for his relationship with some of the Democrats when he was president. But
yeah.
The movie was a great showcase of not only his beginnings and when he was elected, and then his life in the White House, but it was also an endearing portrayal towards the end of his life of what he went through. He still had such a love for the country, and he'd always been pro-America. But the endearing aspect towards the end of his life, when he was dealing with Alzheimer's, and his relationship with his wife, who not only stood by him but stood up for him. Nancy Reagan was not allowing the media to rip his character and his legacy. She made things known, and she was not afraid to do so. She loved her husband, and they had their moments, they had their times sometimes, but like any married couple. But President Reagan, and he was, to be honest, he was actually the first president I personally could vote for, because when I came of age, he was the one running, and I voted for him without any hesitation. There's no way I was going with Jimmy Carter. Mr. Carter was a good man in a lot of ways. I just
Yeah.
didn't appreciate what he was doing as president. But this movie was, I think, a great portrayal with Dennis Quaid playing the part.
Yeah. How'd you feel about Dennis Quaid's performance?
Again, Quaid has since come out to be have a lot of conservative principles that I've seen, and he's a very professed as being a Christian. But I think he portrayed Ronald Reagan magnificently. He brought not only able to play the charm of Reagan, but he brought the nuances, and he brought the just the general disposition of the character to such reality. Don't know. I think Dennis Quaid's an awesome actor anyway, but just the way he portrayed the president, I think it was marvelous.
Yeah, I thought the movie was really good, and it was actually uh, could have been nominated for an Oscar for, I believe, Best Picture, but they didn't qualify because of the DEI standards now.
Yeah,
They didn't
yeah,
have enough representation of, I guess, gay people, black people. Just yeah, that's a shame.
yeah. So what's your next one?
So my next one would have to be The Incredibles 2004 movie. I actually
Well,
grew up on
that's
that
cheap.
movie.
That's enough. Yeah,
I really like that movie, and I used to have a GameCube, like a Nintendo GameCube, and I had the Incredibles game on there. That game was amazing. But I think The Incredibles has a good message in it because it kind of goes back to the participation trophy culture where everything needs to be fair and just everyone needs to be represented. And it goes to the villain in The Incredibles. His name is Syndrome, and he doesn't have any superpowers, but he's smart enough to build a bunch of technology to where he can like fly and he can really hurt superheroes. And I guess when he's doing that, he wants everyone to be super so that no one isn't. And it's kind of what the participation trophy is like. You don't actually reward the people who are above average, and you kind of just water down excellence. And it's also pro family too, because you have it's The
well, they are
Incredibles.
family, so
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly. So it is pro family, but I think it's a really good message. So that
I
is my
think so.
second pick.
We took our boys to it when they were younger, and we enjoyed it. And you'd always see families going, so I think it was a good one. So,
Yeah, and they have a black guy in there too.
gotta get your token representation, Dondy.
Exactly. You got to.
And
So
he's pretty chilled too, if I remember right.
yeah, Frozone. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was really good. It was weird.
literally chill.
Yeah, literally, exactly. Literally and figuratively.
So my next one is it's called the Secret Soldiers of Benghazi.
Oh, that's a good
Yes,
one.
I know mine are rather too serious compared to what you've come up with, but
Yeah, The Incredibles and
well, when
Back
you
to the
told me
Future.
conservative, I was just looking, but I think it's a good portrayal of what happened during the time of Obama and when Hillary was his Secretary of State.
Yeah.
And when Benghazi, that area was going through upheaval, and the Islamic radicals were really surging. The U.S. ambassador at the time there had gone, Christopher Stevens, and his, and also there was Sean Smith, who was part of the Foreign Service. They got caught in the mix of when the radicals started attacking Benghazi, and especially the embassy compound and everything. And a few miles away were the as a private corporation, but former soldiers that were now tasked with trying to offer protection to the officials that were in the area, and some were called. But what gets me about the whole thing was the fiasco that occurred, that because of, I believe, decisions by the U.S. government at the time, and especially Secretary of State and her lack of
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton, with her lack of pushing forward what should have been done. There was a stand down call, although that later they tried to say that there wasn't. But they told the military to stand down that security group from
The
going
contractors.
Contractors. And they were told to stand down. But they still went over, and a couple of them also lost their lives along with with Stevens and Smith. But what really irked me afterwards was Hillary not taking any accountability. But then does she ever? No. She the phrase was during the hearings afterwards. She says, "What difference does it make at this point?" Talk about a lack of not only accountability or remorse, but just an almost spiteful attitude, that instead of recognizing what they happened over there and the Americans that were lost, 4 lives, it was like she was trying to cover her own tail without giving any credence to what happened to these brave men in that situation. But she calls out. She likes to make her voice known today. She calls out the president and the current administration, but she wasn't even willing to get support over to the forces, the security forces over there, and to protect a U.S. ambassador.
Exactly.
It was basically left unguarded, and I could see why you wouldn't want to be an ambassador these days.
Yeah, and
you
you
don't
don't have
know,
any security.
you don't know if you're going to get protection or not. So that was my selection for.
Wait, I have a question though regarding 13 hours. What I still don't understand is I actually have the clip of Hillary Clinton, and I could play that after this discussion. But what I don't understand is why was there confusion regarding the innocence of Muslims viral video at the time? Like Hillary Clinton and I guess Barack Obama thought that there wasn't actually a planned terrorist attack, but there was just a protest and some rioting going on, and they just thought some terrorists decided to kill uh, those Americans.
I'm not familiar enough with that, and I'd have to, out of integrity and everything, have to say I would need to look that one up more. I'll be honest about that. But I don't know. Maybe it might not have necessarily been planned. Sometimes things of that nature, they can start with a simple protest, and because of the heatedness of it and everything, it can get carried away. The I don't want to get into it, but there was the thing with January 6th that, it went from our
Neil, I think you cut out for a
people.
little bit.
Now that's probably.
Okay, yeah, I guess we lost Neil.
Am I gone?
Neil? Okay, you're back?
I'm back. I didn't even know I disappeared.
Okay, I can't hear you. You might be muted.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you.
I don't see anything on my end.
No, I still can't hear you.
Anyway, bye.
Are you having audio issues?
Apparently.
Do you want me to... Let me see if I can do something. So Neil's gone. In case he's gonna come back in a sec. But just to go over what Neil is saying, if you haven't seen 13 Hours, it's basically about a U.S. ambassador. He went to Libya to meet with local leaders in Benghazi after the death of Gaddafi. Gaddafi was a leader of Libya for 42 years. And once he died, they were going to meet with some local leaders. But at that time, Libya's government was weak and they just had a lot of terrorist organizations. And the ambassador didn't have any security. So while he was at this U.S. compound, there was a planned terrorist attack. And 13 Hours is just 13 hours of fighting between the contractors and the terrorists. And the contractors were actually at another CIA facility nearby. And once they heard that the U.S. compound was under attack, they were told to stand down. But they eventually end up going, and the U.S. ambassador died, and a couple of other people. So the contractors took the survivors back to the CIA facility, and then some more terrorists came and started attacking the facility, and they lost some more soldiers. So Hillary Clinton was mainly blamed, and I want to see if Neil wanted to jump back on. So I'm going to share my screen. Here's a YouTube clip of Hillary Clinton's fiery moment at Benghazi. So while we're waiting on Neil, I'm going to go ahead and share this clip.
People have accused Ambassador Rice and the administration of, misleading Americans. I can say, trying to be in the middle of this and understanding what was going on, nothing could be further from the truth. Was information developing? Was the situation fluid? Would we reach conclusions later that weren't reached initially? And I appreciate
Madam Secretary, do you disagree with me that a simple phone call to those evacuees to determine what happened wouldn't have ascertained immediately that there was no protest? I mean, that was a piece of information that could have been easily obtained.
Well, but Senator,
within hours, if not days.
Senator, when you're in these positions, the last thing you want to do is interfere with any other process going on.
I realize that's a good excuse.
Number two, no, it's the fact. Number two, I would recommend highly you read both what the ARB said about it and the classified ARB, because even today there are questions being raised. Now, we have no doubt they were terrorists, they were militants, they attacked us, they killed our people. But what was going on and why they were doing what they were doing
Again, we were misled that there were supposedly protests and then something sprang out of that, an assault sprang out of that. And that was easily ascertained that was not the fact. And the American people could have known that within days, and they didn't know that.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it from ever happening again, Senator. Now, honestly, I will do my best to answer your questions about this, but the fact is that people were trying in real time to get to the best information.
Okay, that's all I'm going to show. It's a pretty long clip, but you get the gist. And this goes back to what Neil was saying about what difference does it make. And she was quoted on that. And yeah, that situation was very controversial. So if you haven't seen 13 Hours, go watch it. It's a really good film based on real events, a little bit dramatized, of course. You know, no one was recording everything, so a lot of the situations was made up. So Neil's picks for his top 3 conservative movies. The first one, Reagan, starring Dennis Quaid. That's a good one. His second one was 13 Hours. And his third one, which I wish he was on to talk a little bit more, but was Dirty Harry, I believe, came out in 1971. And I guess what would make that film conservative was just Law and Order. It was about a cop, I believe. I haven't personally seen the film, but when I was looking up a little bit, okay, so Neil won't be joining us because he just texted me and said he's having some connection issues. So, and my top 3, which is more family friendly, anyone can watch, is first one, Back to the Future, which is pro family because Marty McFly is trying to get his parents back together. The second one is The Incredibles, and that's pro family as well. But you also have, it relates to now about the participation trophy thing. Everyone, fairness, everyone wins, and no one is above average, and kind of watering down excellence. It's almost like when you watch sports, you want the best team to win, but imagine if one team won a championship, meaning everyone won a championship. It just doesn't make sense. My third and final pick is actually, what is my third pick? I can't even remember. It's The Incredibles. Oh, do we have Neil? Okay, so I think Neil's trying to come back in here. But the first one is The Incredibles. Second one, first one is the Back to the Future. Second one is The Incredibles. And my third pick, was The Sandlot. And I picked The Sandlot because that's just like classic Americana, and America loves baseball. And I really like the concept of the protagonist being kind of taken under the other kids' wings and him being shown around. And it just reminds everyone about their childhood, going and playing outside with everyone. And then you have the big dog who takes all the baseballs, and then the scary neighbor. I just think it's a really classic family movie that everyone can enjoy. And I think it relates to today as well, because you have a lot of tablet kids, and not a lot of people don't know how it feels to just be outside and get dirty and touch the grass. So, yeah, those are our top 6 conservative movies. And I think Neil is still having some issues. So, but we're just going to end it here. Let me know what you think about our top 6 conservative movies. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And, you comment and let us know what else you want us to talk about. follow me on X, follow Neil on LinkedIn. He's pretty active on there. And thank you so much. I'll see you guys next week.